Howdy, howdy, this is Clara Lawrence. Where do I look? you said now? It's like, howdy, guys. So I got a request to do some neutral colors with Claramarble, so I thought we'd do that today. I've got some brown tones going on. Whoops. Mikey, you're supposed to have your sound down. Whoops. We got in the background, we got Mikey. So
hello.
There you go. All right, so I've got two groupings picked out depending on how long this goes. I'm pretty fast with this. I think we'll probably get both groupings together. One of them has brown tones in them, and the other one is more gray tones with a little bit of a hint of a purple. So I figured we get both of them out. We'll go from there. Yeah, and we'll just work with that. So Mikey and I are working on something. Should I tell him what the project we're going to be working on? The big one? Might as well?
Sure.
Well, besides, I'm not talking about clean the studio. Well, that was a big one. We are working on putting together some courses, and I'm super excited about it. And the first course we're going to put out, I think mainly because there's so much excitement around it, is the Claramarble. So break it down even more, make it easier to follow, different techniques I could pull into it, and go into that. So that's what we're working on next. We're gonna put out a quickie one just to show, you know, how to mix the dyes and stuff. There's, you know, a lot of you guys have been following me, probably already know the gist of it, but just in case you need more information, I'll try to put that in there too. So if there's any courses that you guys would like in particular, you know, put it down in the description, or obviously if you're on the live, in the chat. So that would be great.
Put in the description?
Description, well, description below if they're watching this later on.
The comments?
Oh my God, you're right. Okay. In the comments below. There we go. Okay. Sometimes lives are hard. And words even harder. Anyway, so Rhonda Draculis at RK3 Designs has a live at 7 p.m. in which I moderate on. So we definitely have a window block of time that I get to go on. And I jumped on the 6 o'clock window because Erica and Jeff are on their way to Alabama. So I had the window open and I just went for it. So anyway, let's see. Anybody I can say hello to? Hey, Janice. Hey, Christy. Diane. Bruce. All right. Let's get started. So Bruce, I know you've been doing the Claramarble stuff and messing around with that. What colors have you been messing around with most? Oh, Leslie's going to be hosting tonight. Nice. All right, I might have to have our website up and ready to go. She's going to make me work on my tumblers again, and I'm going to get in trouble with Mikey if I start messing around with some other kind of project. Oh, at the end of the live, I'm going to show you guys a little sneak peek of a project I just got finished with. If y'all didn't catch it, I kind of did a little bypass, you know, while we were getting all set up. Did y'all see the tease in the beginning? I didn't get a reaction, so I'm thinking they didn't. Hey, Carrie. All right, so the colors I'm going to be messing around with today is Dirty Brown and Walnut. I got upper or lower there, that one. And both of these have a lot of brown undertones and red undertones. And I thought I would throw in a little bit of an interference in there, and it's a mica powder. Give these a good shake. I've been using a little bit. All right, I got that one opened up. I'm doing great. Okay. Get a little river of alcohol going on here. I'm using 91% isopropyl alcohol. Do you guys have a hard time with that word? Sometimes I do. Isopropyl. Purple. You guys, as far as buying the bottles, I buy so many of those little bottles, it's just not even funny. All right. You know what? I think I'm going to move around the neutrals just so we can see what they look like, just being that before I bring in the interference colors. So these are made with Alumilite dyes, and they're not inks. They're different. So they're going to behave a little bit different than the alcohol inks, but for the most part, they're very similar. What? What did Bruce say? You're going to have to be my go-to person. Where did that pink come from? I didn't have pink.
You said I got as far as buying the bottles.
Yep.
But you need to agree with you on the alcohol.
Ah. So sometimes you will get little beads that will collect on the edges. Sometimes that'll also happen with alcohol inks too. It can be moisture in the air. It could be just the dyes collecting and creating a deposit. I don't worry about it. I keep pushing through it and moving the inks back, or the dyes back and forth. I kind of use dyes and ink terminology interchangeably. It's similar techniques I use on both of them. So just try to get a start where I've got some color down on there. If you notice, this isn't even completely dry yet, and I'm just kind of build up some color in the middle. So even though I'm messing around with neutrals, I do like to still have a couple different colors. Because if you can see here, see I've got a little bit of red going on here, but then this is more of a tan type of a color. And I think it just adds a little bit more richness. And that's kind of how I work with most colors, even if I'm going with a monotone. Pick something with a slight variation to it. Yeah, now you can see what I'm talking about here, where it's kind of beating up a little bit. So we're kind of at that, what I'm going to call the ugly stage. I just keep on working with it. And right now it's mainly a matter of just adding the color to it, and then we're going to manipulate it from here. So we're going to get our base started. That might be a better way of describing it. Get your base started. And because inks are a little, dyes are a little thicker, you can still get those textures in there, whereas inks will evaporate really fast. Okay, so if I were to stop here, it'd be a hot mess. Would you guys agree? I think you all would agree. But you can, why I did want to stop here is you can really see the two different colors that I'm working with here. And that'll really help out later on. So I'm going to add some alcohol to the outside. And adding the alcohol and moving it back and forth seems to really help with the alcohol dyes becoming a lot more appealing visually. And bringing those undertones that give it that marble kind of feel to it. We're just going to keep working with it until we like where we're going. And some colors will bind themselves to your substrate a lot stronger than others will. So if you know that ahead of time, or if you can see that happening, you can make adjustments accordingly. And I'll give you an example of that. So this is going to be a lot of problem solving in this episode, I believe. We're going to talk about that. So you can see here where there's a little bit of staining of the board. And that's the black holding on there. So we're just going to keep, let's see, I'm going to add a thin line of alcohol. And I'm going to just beef up a little bit more color in here. Just make it where it looks like it's supposed to be like that. Now, if you're working with a larger project, a bigger hairdryer might actually help out. You just gotta be mindful it's gonna be a stronger blow. Stronger blow. Where's Erica when I need her? She'd be doing the that's what she said thing. Or, I can see that too. Okay. Starting to lighten up on the edges here. Yep. So it almost acts like it cracks And I don't worry about it. I just keep moving the colors back and forth. And eventually they seem to relax and then put a lot more of a softer blend. This is really reddened up. Nice red tones in this. Reddened up. No, that doesn't work. Nice red tones, we'll just say that. Okay. Let's work in this zone here a little bit more. It does kind of remind me of wood, like a twisted old piece of hardwood. Not quite spalted, but definitely a hardwood. So I'm just bringing the alcohol in and out just to grab some of the ink a little bit and work it in this one particular area. Move it down the line. This was a tricky combination here, these two colors, because they are fighting. There we go. Yes.
Is the red part of the brown recipe in your color book?
Yep. It's in there. It's in there. It is. Okay, now I'm happier with that. That looks good. So right in there, I'm liking that. Okay. It's a walnut color in the book, but it's got a little bit of brown, black and red in that. And then the other one has a brown black combination. So it's dirty brown is the second one. All right, let's work in this area a little bit. It's giving me the feeling of burl wood almost. Hey, Julie. And if you go with the dryer slowly, in other words, you bring it far out and you bring it in slow, you can let it dry an area like it is without it moving much more than that if you really like it. All right, let's see about adding a little bit of light over here, see what happens. Lighter in the zone, and I'm about to add an interference to this just to see how it behaves, because that can look really pretty later on, and it's a gold interference, so it shouldn't take over in theory, but I haven't tried it before, so we're going to try together. All right, so let's just go for it. And I think this is the Color Passion gold interference, but I believe Gold Ghost is very similar from Stone Coat or Polycolor, I believe. Polytech. Yeah. That's what happens when you start paying attention to your painting and not talking. So even though this is neutral, And I'm using the gold interference. It's not coming off like a gold, like a bright gold. It just adds a little bit of an extra shimmer to it without it being too much. You know what I'm talking about, like if I were to add a bright gold metallic. Let that dry a little bit. Let me do a light area over here with just those colors. You like it? So the mica powders, definitely give them a quickie shake before you use it, but then again, I kind of got the habit of doing that with all the colors. It's a good habit to get into, just like mixing up your epoxy before you use it. All right, Mikey. Any way you can bring that in close? Oh, we can't detach it. Oh, we can do the overhead. That works.
We'll work on it.
Cool, cool, cool. You gotta switch over the phone.
What?
Talk, talk, talk. Okay. So the interference will have a shifty quality when you start walking around it. You'll start to, all of a sudden it goes bing and really shines up. As Mikey moves around the camera, you can really see it there. Well, that works out pretty good. Yeah. But loose mica powders, you got to be careful and make sure you put that spray on for sure. Because if I put my finger on this, it's going to come right off. But just even showing this part compared to this side, and that has the interference and the other one doesn't. You don't have to put it everywhere, but it is a nice little touch. Me's a fan of the interference. Oh, see you later, Christy. Okay. Let's get on. Okay, so we're doing a black violet and a cool gray. Let's see, am I overhead? Where am I? Right there. Yeah. So this has got just a hint of the violet color, but both of them have the black tones in it. And then I'll pull in the gold at the end on that one. So when I do black, I usually like to have something that has a tiny, tiny, tiny hint of another color. I think it looks more interesting, whether it's a blue or, oop. Man, I just had the surface cleaned off. Oh well. And I found my cut. That's what I get for wrestling with the kitty cat. Ouch. So the first part is just laying down some colors to start messing around with it.
What's the paper?
Paper is Yupo paper. And it is a very slick plastic paper. An alcohol ink, watercolor, the Alumilite dyes. Love it. It's a great way to practice some of the techniques. But before you work on a big project, if you're working on anything that is epoxy based, I definitely recommend doing a board with epoxy to do your practice on, especially if you're doing it for a client.
You know where to get it?
Jerry's Artorama. You can get it on Amazon. You can, yeah. I have in the past. That's the paper there. Whoop, there we go. This one, it goes in, I believe, 9x12, 12x16, and they got some itty bitty ones, like 5x7 sizes or something like that. And you can get in huge rolls, but I would definitely wouldn't do the huge rolls for countertops. I would just work with an epoxy base if your application is countertops. Wow, that purple really came out. That reminds me of some of those areas in, what is it, Arizona? You get those canyons, really cool canyon lengths. All right, I think I'm going to not use the violet. I think I have plenty of violet. Just a little bit extra alcohol. Now this technique, I do use it with alcohol inks as well as alcohol dyes. How are we doing on time?
6:23.
Okay. Can't be late for Rhonda. I got duties. 7. I'm definitely doing okay. All right. Huh?
How do you get to it?
You're talking. Oh, you're trying to cue me. I see what you did there. You see what you did there. Okay, Rhonda RK3 Designs on YouTube tonight at 7 p.m. Central. So she's got a live there, and I help moderate on that. Is that what you're referring to, Mr. Mikey? Okay, I did better. We have been having a ton of moisture in the air this last week and a half. So all my alcohol ink ventures have been challenging, to say the least. But, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Yes, sir. You want me to read it? Okay. Okay. Hang on, let me get this to a point and I will go read. I am almost there. See, just back and forth, it starts to settle into a nice little pattern. It's like, that looks pretty now. Before, not so much. Okay, let's see. Could you do a white base resin pour, let it dry, and do this technique over it using not heat blower? Okay, so if you're applying this onto cured resin, and I say cured resin, you put me on big screen? Yeah, okay. Yes, you could put it over white resin. I would encourage you, if you're going for a straight flat white, just keep in mind that resin, you know, epoxy resin does amber over time. It's good to be able to incorporate other like micas that are kind of give it that pre-amber look. So that way when that transition happens, it's very gradual. People hardly notice it. And a way of doing that is, you know, white mica powders will help out with that too, or even adding a pearl. But besides that part, let it cure for at least 24 hours. Anything under that, sometimes the dyes react to it. And then, yeah, go nuts with it. Let it dry for a couple hours to make sure everything is nice and dry. If you get any big accumulations of color that don't seem to be drying, you can pat it very lightly with a paper towel, pick up some of the color. You don't have to pick up all of it, just some of it. So you're just leaving little bits of paper towel, of color on your paper towel. That's what you're looking for. And then after that, give it a couple light coats of a clear matte spray. If you got an archival spray, that's great, or just use a spray paint type brand that works really well with your epoxy. Like Rust-Oleum works really good with stone coat countertops. So what you're doing is you're creating your alcohol ink or your dye, your pretty color layer. You put a barrier there, and then you apply your final flood coat of epoxy on top of that. So, yeah. All right, let's get back to it. Thank you. Oh no! So what I have noticed, and this is one of the reasons why I go back and forth over a light area several times, is dye will collect and attach to a board, as you've noticed with these pieces here. And by it moving across several times and leaving little deposits, you get complicated undertones that look really, really cool because it adds a nice depth to the piece. It's almost like, you know, that faux, it's like under painting. There we go. That's the words I'm looking for, which marble has. You know, you can see different layers of it, and you can try to mimic that with epoxy resin as well. Oop, I sprayed all over the place. Oh well. Whee! We're having all kinds of challenges today. That's all right. We just keep working with it. All right, so a little bit of color in the middle here. Why do I keep doing it with my finger that has a cut in it? I'm just going to build up some color right in the middle. Bringing over some of these dots. I personally, and you don't have to do this, you know, when you're working on your pieces, but I personally like to have a little bit of drama, what I call drama or even contrast with my Claramarbles, and so that way you have a definite direction, whether the direction is diagonal or off diagonal, and it adds, I think, more interest to the piece, even coming off like at an angle here. And I'm going to throw in some color over here too. No pain, no gain, right? It allows more design options for you. It also just allows more interest. If it was the same tones, I mean, you could lighten up the tone and just, you need to have some area that focuses your eye. And then you start picking up other details and your eye starts wandering. It's drying nicely, so I'm just kind of very gently keeping my dryer up and down and just moving it around to finish off that drying right there, because it's like, I like how that dried, so we're going to keep it like that. All right, let me try this area here a little bit more, and I put it way out to the outside so I can just kind of kiss the side there and bring it back out. And that's how we can get a wispy in a certain area, is just bring the alcohol, pour the alcohol on the outside and just bring it up there and let it kiss the color and bring it back out. And then just before the alcohol evaporates, I push it back in so that way everything has a soft edge. But if you wanted a hard edge, obviously you can keep it that way. Hey, Evelyn. Hey, Jason. Thanks for joining in. Okay, so let's add some gold to the piece. Yep.
Gold pen.
Gold. Now there's a couple ways of doing it. Either one, I could put a bead of alcohol when I add color, or I can add color just straight on. Obviously straight on, I'm going to get a lot more concentration. And then I always move it back and forth just so it can integrate with the other colors, and it brings the other colors with it. So you're seeing the blue and the black. It looks like blue, but it's violet, I promise. Kind of blending together. And if you wanted to do a thin line, don't even squeeze the bottle. Just kind of let gravity take its course. So I'm just gonna let the liquid flow out of that bottle. And I'm just barely moving the dryer over top of it. Usually, okay, dry there. Usually one pass and it's dry. So let's see, I'm gonna do a second one. Just give a little bit of a light area over here, and then I always go in and add a little bit of alcohol and re-manipulate it, and then that way you get that complex undertones happening where it kind of stains the board but also moves a little bit. But you can get some really pretty things happening with just barely any color in there. Hello, Trisha. Thanks for hanging out with me. Okay, so another way you can work around like little dots in here that you have in the background that you're like, oh, I didn't mean to have that. Just get some alcohol and gently rub it in with your finger. If it's not coming up and it has stained the board, you can work in a little bit more color, or just try to soften it up a little bit by applying the alcohol. And we're gonna let those live. I think that's fine. But even if like I didn't like that little area there, I could take a little bit of alcohol on my finger. I'm just stealing some from this edge and softening up that little bit. Best fingers tools that you can get is your little fingers. Best fingers? I said best finger tools. Oh my gosh, you're gonna get so many quotes for me today. Blah, 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 blah. Best tools you can have, your fingers. Use them. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. Oh, would you guys like a sneak peek at what I've been working on? Because it's kind of fun. Okay, I can handle it. I can't even wait for the yeses. You got me on the overhead? So. So it's a very bite. It's a very bite. But I was messing around with those little blending kind of techniques with that. But a lot of color. A lot of color. But he's gonna be fine. He's going on a shirt. Yep.
Sneak peek.
Sneak peek, and he's gone. Out of here. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. You guys check out website. I have the alcohol dye book out there, the color mixing guide. So it's a PDF file. You can download it and print out different recipes. Got the colors in there that you use, a recipe about how much you need for each one. These are the products to pull. So you just simply print out the page you're interested in, take it to the shop. You don't have to worry about it getting messy. You've got the file on your computer. So check out the website, ClaraLawrence.com for that, and be on the lookout. We're going to be adding some courses. Mikey's got the whip out, and we're going to get busy. So again, Rhonda, 7 o'clock. Be there.